you, out of common courtesy, I'd ask that you might listen. You see, I have two policies when I talk. Number one, when you talk, I wouldn't dare talk, because that would be rude. And then when I talk, I'm not going to expect you to talk. You get my drift? Now, everywhere I go, I run up on the kind of people that you can't tell them nothing. Everywhere I go, I run up on the kind of people that already know all there is to know about everything. How many of you in here have a driver's license? Raise your hand. Well, now, keep your hands up so I can see you. All right, you may put them down. You see, the reason I ask you that is because, you see, young people, they already know the law. You don't, because you don't have your life, but they do. Because, see, they had to take a little test, didn't you? And you had to go down and they asked you all the little questions about what the signs were, and you passed it. But I wonder how many of you that's listening to me right now know that in the state of Kentucky, it's against the law for you to drive a car barefooted. Raise your hand. Is it true, Patrolman? No. No, it's not. Know it all? Didn't know it all, did you? Hard-headed. You ever had your mama and daddy call you hard-headed? Because you are. When I was your age, my mother was the stupidest woman that ever breathed. When I was your age, my mother didn't have enough sense to get out the rain. But when I got a little older, that old gal got pretty smart. Because you see, gang, I don't know it all. You don't know it all. But if I know anything at all, I know that 15 seconds after I leave here today, you're going to forget my name. But most of you will remember what I'm going to say today for the rest of your life. Not because I know it all, but because I have learned that I don't know it all. See, some of you think you know what this is, but you don't. This is not a blackjack. You can't jack up a car with it. This is called the crowd control device. Now, the reason, teachers, you call it a crowd control device is that you can control the crowd with it. I can tell you all day, but I really showed you how. Come here, boy. Stand right here. Hi, I'm Pete Dollar. Excuse me? Neil. Teachers, the first thing you learn in law enforcement is watch someone who won't look you in the eye when you're talking to them. You ever start talking to somebody and they're looking down? Watch them. And when you shake hands with him, shake his hand. Don't walk up to him and say, hi. You see, teachers, you can have one of these right there in your own classroom. They're about $6 or $7. See, you take this little stick and hit him right here. Close both of his eyes. I can hit him here and knock every tooth in his head out. Now don't laugh, girls. Wait till you learn to kiss a boy without teeth. It's sort of like kissing a commode plunger. Oh, I see some of you teachers know what I'm talking about. But you see, I can take this little $6 or $7 stick. I can burst his spleen. I can tear his intestines loose. I can go hit him on the knee. What kind of school you running here, man? Know it all. But you see, if I use this little stick, I can kill him. Anything that you have, young people, if you don't know how to use it, you can hurt someone with it. But if I can control deal with it here, I'm a winner. If I can't, I'll reach and grab these. I understand that some of you personally know what these are. However, those of you that do not, these are called restraining devices. Teachers, they're made to fit big old wrists and little bitty wrists. I don't have to put these around Bill's wrist. I can run this up in his nose. He'll follow me like the Exxon wrecker down the highway. But if you want to control him, just reach him. Grab his hand. I got him. Now, Neil will do anything I tell him to do now. If he doesn't, I'll pinch his thumb off and he can take it home and show it to his mama. Now, if you don't believe I've got him, what? Son, get on your knees. Son, don't make me look bad in front of all these people. You get on your knees now. Hard-headed, isn't he? I got a son just like him. But you see, young people, if you ever lose control of your life, someone else will take charge. I've asked him as nice as I know how to get on his knees. I won't ask him nice anymore. I'm going to put pressure in the right spot, son. Get on your knees. Any questions? Now, if you don't believe I've got him, get up, son. How many of you here would like to see this young man kiss a Mississippi State trooper? We live in the greatest nation on earth. I think we ought to vote on it. If you'd like to see him kiss me, say aye. Any opposal with no? That's the lone voice in the wilderness. Well, son, the ayes have it. Kiss me. At one time, maybe if I'm a little nicer, please kiss me. Now, he'd rather take a whooping. See, he can whoop me in a fair fight, but I don't play fair. They call this peer pressure, folks. You see, you'll do a lot of things when you get around somebody else that you wouldn't never do by yourself. You see, I'm fixing to put enough pressure on him, but he don't do what I tell him to do. I'm going to pinch his thumb off. Come here and kiss me, son. Give me my hand, Jack. You see, young people, I don't know it all. I've tried in the last 10 or 15 years of my life to realize for the first time that I don't know it all. I tease young people as I cross America about my son. I usually tell them the same thing. I promise you, teachers, my son lies in bed at night. And he dreams of ways to run me crazy. I promise you, young people, that little sucker is making my hair fall out by the wad. He came in the other day with his report card and threw it on the table. Said, "Here, Daddy, I'm tired of watching television anyway." I said, "Did you smart off with me, boy?" "Yes, sir." I said, come here, man. Yes, sir? Come here. I said, you know what I'm fixing to do to you? No, sir. I said, I'm fixing to beat you to death. He said, you can't hit me, Daddy. It's against the law. I said, you looking at the law, boy. It's a God-given right for every man, woman in this whole world to know that, fellas, God's given you the right to have two privileges. Every man has a God-given right to own a pickup truck. And beat your kid. My daddy had a pickup, he whooped me. His daddy had a pickup, he whooped him. I said, I own a pickup, boy. Come here, I'm going to whoop you. He said, you hit me and I'll tell Mama. I said, I'll whoop you and your mama, boy. My wife said, what did you say? I said, nothing, darling. I said that up in Cincinnati about 3 weeks ago, and this girl stood up and said, well, where would you men be without us women? I said, in the Garden of Eden. That's where we would have been. Yes, women, you're the cause of all this problem, every one of you. But you see, we live fast. We grow up fast. I promise you, young people, it was just yesterday that I was in high school. And now my life's half gone. It was just yesterday that we were getting ready for graduation. Where were the seniors? Raise your hand. See, seniors, in just a couple of weeks, you're going to walk across the stage, you're going to take your little hat and put it, and on this side of the stage, you're going to be seniors. But on this side, you used to go to school here. It won't ever be the same. Promise. You see, you can't wait to get grown. I used to lie in bed and dream of one day when I'd get to be grown. When I got out of high school, I went in the Army, and I used to say, you know, when I get out of the Army, I'll never stand in line for anything else, and I'll never let anybody else tell me what to do. Folks, after I got out of the Army, still had folks tell me what to do every day of my life. You see, young people, you won't ever arrive. You're always going to be going. Right now, your main goal is to just get out of high school. But you see, the thing I'm going to tell you today is that I promise you, just as sure as God made little green apples, somebody that I'm talking to today is never going to get to finish high school here. You're going to die. And you're going to die, gang, doing just exactly what I'm telling you not to do. You see, young people, I learned a long time ago, I can't talk to all of you. I'm only going to get a chance to talk to about 95% of you. Because you see, 95% of you, you're going to grow up and get you a job. Most amazing thing about a job, they pay you with a check. And on this side of your check, you're going to make real good money. But as your little eyes scan across to the bottom right-hand corner, they call that your bring home money, gang. And it's not going to be the same. You know why? Because they're going to take out money that you work for. To take care of this 5%, you're going to sit here and giggle and laugh and talk while I'm talking. And you won't have any problem figuring out who you're going to have to work for the rest of your life. You see, my son will never have to get a college education, teachers, I promise. He knows it all. His mother was real sick a couple of years ago, and he had to grow up real fast. He had to become the chief cook and bottle washer at the house. He had to fix my uniform and get me ready to go to work. I came in one day, and he's sitting in the middle of the floor watching TV. He had a brand new pair of Levi's. Had the leaves cut out of it. I walked in the door and he said, I got supper ready, Daddy. I said, no, I don't talk supper. I won't talk to you. Sir? Come here. Yes, sir? I said, what happened to your preaching, son? Nothing. I said, nothing. Stinking knees out of him, son. He said, oh, that's a fad at school, Daddy. Everybody's cutting their knees out. I took Mama's knife and cut. I said, you did what? He said, I took Mama's knife and I cut. Come here, little boy. Yes, sir. I said, you mean to stand there and tell me that Mama's been sick and Daddy's got $15,000 worth of doctor bills I got to pay? And I'm running all over this country trying to pay Mama's doctor bills and buy her medicine and send you to school, and I'll buy you a brand new pair of blue jeans with money I was going to eat dinner on, and you take a stinking knife and cut the knees out of them? He said, I ain't doing it no more, Daddy. Now, see, kids, I ain't fussing at you. I'm just going to tell you that things that you're going to do in the next couple of months and years is going to have such a profound effect upon your life. Just little decisions, like girls, who you're going to marry. I mean, forget what he looks like. When you get ready to get married, forget what he looks like, girl. Don't even consider that. The first thing you do when he calls and asks you for a date, before you even consider going out on a date, you call the Kentucky State Police and check his driving record first. And you better listen to me, girl. Right now, it's funny. You know why it's funny? Because Mom and Daddy's paying the bill. But wait, little sweetheart, until you decide to get married. And then we're going to see. You see, young ladies, the new law now says you can't have two insurance companies in the same household. See, the Mississippi Highway Patrol can't keep the kids in Mississippi straight. The Kentucky State Police can't keep you straight. Young people, do you know who's going to bring you down on your knees? Just like I brought Neil on his knees with a cuss. These insurance companies. Now see, these insurance companies are going to make you pay through the nose, folks. Why? Because they've got enough problems with lawsuits that they're going to make sure that the people they insure are good drivers. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana last year. This man walked up to me, the principal. He said, look here, trooper, use this in your program. This young boy that was a senior in his high school, his dad bought him a brand new IROC for graduation. Bought it at 9:30 that morning, and at 1:15 it's back on the lot. Had 11 miles on it. You know why they took his car back, gang? They went to get insurance. You know how much insurance is going to be on that IROC? He has one drunk driving and 2 speeding tickets. That insurance, not to buy gas for it, fellas. Just to sit in it was going to cost him $5,200 every 6 months. That means before he bought him a roll of toilet paper, ladies, he's going to pay $10,400 a year just to ride in that IROC with that thing. You know, he come to school saying, yeah, they got me. I'm a cool dude, man. They got me. Hey, I got me a ticket right here on this hill. Don't laugh at it, kids. You get you a ticket now, how long does it stay on your record, folks? Forever. You better listen to me. Well, I didn't know. You get you a ticket now for drinking and driving. You get you a ticket for just possession of alcohol. You won't even be able to join the Army. You won't be able to go in the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps. You can't go in the Coast Guard. You can't even join the National Guard. Get you a ticket now, fellas. I promise you. You won't go to the West Point Military Academy. You won't go to Annapolis or to the Air Force Academy in Colorado. Why? They'll never take you. I promise you, gang, you know why? America's had it up to here with drunks. Out of 100 of you that's listening to me, listen, fellas, Statistics tells us out of 100 of you at age 65, one of you will be rich. 4 of you will be financially independent. Listen to me. And 95 of you will be living off of what someone else will give you. That's statistics, folks. Now, girls, fellas, you see, you're going to go out here in a couple of years, you're going to graduate in a couple of months, and you're going to be up and trying to get around, but I promise you, what you watch on television is not what's really happening in this world. You see, every time you turn the television on, some big old football player is going to walk up to you and say, "Give me a light." And everybody will laugh. They'll have some big basketball player tie off the top of the can and say, "Give me a light." Everybody's going to laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, after 19 years of walking up on mama's and daddy's door, if I've learned anything at all about this little old bent-up 85-cent can, I've learned that when you party with it, you'll party in a group. But when you die with it, you'll die all by yourself, one at a time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just as sure as I'm standing in this room now, you hide and watch what I'm telling you. Somebody I'm talking to. I went to a high school in West Virginia, and I said from here to here, they stood and laughed at me when I said one of them wouldn't graduate. But I left that school like I do 1,000 others. 3 weeks after I came back home, a little girl sent me a letter. She said, "Mr. Collins, your finger looked 10 feet long as it came across our gym. And I owe you an apology because I laughed at you when you said one of us wouldn't graduate." She said, "But I'm not laughing now." She said, "You'll remember the man who introduced you, our senior class president. He was killed coming home from our senior party that night drunk. Not only did he kill himself, but he killed his little girlfriend that had his class ring hanging around her neck. Not only did he kill her, but the young boy playing tackle with him on the football team that was double dating with him killed him. Not only did he kill him, but the little girl he was dating shall forever be paralyzed the rest of her life." She said, "Mr. Collins, you tell young people in America there are things worse than death." Now, gang, I'll never see you again. I've reached a point in my life through my health that I'm not going to get to speak many more months like I'm doing right now. But this will be the last time I'll ever come to your school. This is it. My health is gone, young people. The reason why I'm here today is that I want you to live. I want you to be able to grow up and have a life. But I want you to remember everything you see on television is not what it's really like out in this world. 15 seconds after I leave, you're going to forget me. But if you forget what I'm fixing to tell you, you will be forever remembered. You see, young ladies, one of these days it's going to be the most fascinating thing in the whole wide world. God's going to give you a little baby. Most amazing thing about little babies, you see, somewhere in the Bible, it says that God did not intend. Yes, it does. Somewhere in the Bible it says God does not intend for a man to change dirty diapers. Wet diapers we can handle. Dirty diapers is your job. You see, kids, we talking and you said gross. Oh no. See, that's part of being a mama and a daddy. You see, girls, you're going to feel it move and wiggle, and then one night you're going to go down to some little old small hospital, and they're going to bring you out a green sheet. And it's going to be yours. And you're going to take him to Walmart and get his picture made. I mean, he looked ugly as an ape, but everybody's going to say he's perfect. Girls, you don't take her hand, put it on a piece of newspaper, and draw around it with a pencil, and cut it out with a pair of scissors, and stick it in your Bible or a book, and nobody will know anything about it but you. Fellas, you don't teach him how to ride a bicycle. Teach him how to bounce a basketball. You're going to take him fishing. You're going to have his picture in your billfold, show everybody Neil. You're going to say, that's my boy. And then one night, some old lawman's going to walk up your door in the middle of the night and knock on your door and tell you that your world's never going to be the same again. All these beer commercials won't be funny to you anymore. You see, young people, I don't know a lot of things, but I do know that that boy that I tease you about, that boy that I tell you that doesn't study, that boy that I tell you that runs me crazy, is every dream I've got in the world. If you want to kill this old Mississippi State Trooper, you don't have to shoot me. All you got to do is tell me my boy's never going to come back home. You'll kill me. And yet I know, young people, that 71 of you are going to die somewhere in America today just because of a drunk. Not a cocaine addict, not a crack addict. We're going to lose 71 of you beautiful young people today just because of a stinking drunk. Now, folks, I don't have any patience with a drunk. You get on the highway and you kill something precious. 169 people I've worked the fatality in my career. 169, and every one of them died because of a drunk. Every one of them. You see, young people, I don't know a lot, but I do know this, that when you've been dead 15, 16, 17 billion, trillion, zillion, trillion, zillion years, you just died. And 15 seconds after they close that lid on you at the funeral home here, everybody at this high school is going to start to forget your name. I don't know, but I do know this. We had 61 in our senior class, only 60 graduated. Ted Burton was coming home from the West Tallahatchie football game. He didn't have to ride the football bus. His mother and dad bought him, fellas, remember those little LG cars? He came around the football bus. He took his last beer can and threw it out. He rolled down the front of the highway in front of the bus. We started unloading the equipment back at the field house. Someone ran up and said, "Did you hear about Ted?" "What?" "He didn't make the curve up at Grenada." They got his senior picture in his tombstone. He looks just like he did in high school. They got on his tombstone, not dead, just sleeping. They ain't fooling nobody but themselves, folks. He's dead, and he's coming back. Now you see, fellas, when you get in an automobile out here and you start cruising up and down the road, listen, if that young man loves you, ladies, he won't ever put you in a car drinking. Never. You see, the best way to find out if he loves you, does he realize he can lose it? You see, find out if they'll take you for granted. Listen, young people, right now you can't wait to be on this side of the bleachers. You want to get grown. I'll ask a young girl that's 11, she's always going to be 12. If you're 10, you're going to be 11. You're always going to be older. Trust me, gang, you're going to get old before you realize it. But you see, young ladies, I was in a little high school in South Louisiana. I made the statement about boys and girls going together, drinking on dates. This little girl came up to me, had a ring on her finger, 10-pound of tape underneath the bottle. She said, "My boyfriend loves me, we're going to get married." I said, "Congratulations, darling." She said, "But just because he drinks when we date doesn't mean he doesn't love me." I said, "Yes, it does. Because you'll never hurt what you love." We were standing at the center court of the gym. Here he comes. Teachers, he wasn't walking in, kicking his feet. He wanted everybody to know he was coming after his property. He reached down and grabbed her under the arm and lifted her up and said, "Don't listen to him, he's an idiot." Drug her right off toward the lane. Principal came up and said, "Trooper, I apologize. That she's one of the prettiest girls in this school. And he treats her just like she's a little puppy, and she followed him around." I left that high school. He sent me a letter 3 months later. You know what just really chaps me? I'm telling you this, and some of these old boys are looking at that girl saying, "Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him." That principal sent me a letter. He married him another girl 3 months later because he killed her in a car wreck. Now, girls, if you think these boys is going to lie here on these Kentucky hills on your grave and cry if they killed you in a car wreck, I got some property I want to send you in Mississippi that you can see Kentucky Lake from. What I'm going to tell you is what I know, not what I've heard. 2 years ago in Mississippi, we lost 4 freshmen first 2 weeks of school at Mississippi State University. They were going down through the dorm, didn't even know each other. 2 of them didn't know the other 2 boys. One of them had just known, not being friends, just known they were in the same town. The boy driving, mom and dad, it was his second eye rock. They had wrecked the first one they gave him in July, right before he goes off to school, totaled it. They turned around and bought him a brand new one again. This time it was blue. They decided they'd go down to look across the county line and get them some beer. They went down, fellas, we got eyewitnesses said they came in and started drinking. Started playing the video poker machine. Finally, they decided they'd go back to college. They started back on Highway 12, back towards Starkville. They came to what we call, fellas, radar road. We got a little place that you back up in there and you can catch down that long flat with your radar. Well, it's all right if you're going west because you can make that curve pretty good. But if you don't know what you're doing and you're coming back east, you on that curve before you know it. And instead of curving into it, the road goes down and turns back. Why, after Reconstruction, this fellow said that he left that highway at around 131 miles an hour. He hit a culvert and shot him up in the air. The first thing he hit was a utility pole at 18 feet, 6 inches in the air. It started flipping. And every time that eye rock would come over, one of those young men would come out. Young people, it took us 12 hours until we knocked on the last door. Not because these young men were burned or twisted or broken, but every one of them, teachers, young people, had false identification in that back pocket so they could drink that beer early, so they could be grown early. The last one, his name was Chris Brown. Shall never forget it. God lets me live to be a million. I knocked on the door. The lady came to the door. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. She had her house coat on. She braced it across her breast. She said, "Yes, may I help you?" I said, "Mrs. Brown, yes. Is your husband at home?" "Why, yes, he is, just a moment." Her husband was a physician. She's used to people coming all hours of the day and night to see her husband. He came to the door and he said, "Yes, how may I help you?" Now, usually mamas can see a million miles, but this lady's used to people knocking on her door. Her husband's a physician. He sees people at all hours of the day and night. 5 children, 4 girls and a boy. The boy was their baby. He'd graduated with honors at their high school. He had him a scholarship at Mississippi State University. To their knowledge, had never had a bit of alcohol in his system. But he got off around others that wanted to drink. Statistics tells us, ladies, that 60% of the new beer drinkers of America are females because you want him to try to gain popularity. Young ladies, may I remind you, there's only 2 kinds of girls that a boy will ever go with. That's the kind that he'll love and respect and treat like she's special. And then there's the kind he'll use and abuse, but he'll never want to marry the one he used and abused. The man started to look at me, and with an inquisitive look on his face, he said, "May I help you?" By this time, usually, Jackie, when we get to this point, they know something's wrong. But they just kept quizzing me. "May we help you?" My heart is pumping so hard I could hardly breathe. pounding. Every time my pulse would rush, my head would just throb. That blood rushing. I said, I'm fixing to have to tell a man and his wife that their whole world will never be the same again. He looked at me. Finally, he said, is there something wrong? I said, Dr. Brown, I'm awful sorry. Chris has been killed in an automobile accident just a few moments ago. He said, that's not possible. My son is a freshman at Mississippi State. It's just not possible. You see, young people, life's not fair. Anybody ever tells you life is fair, they gonna lie to you. I go back to the station the next day, I start in, and I see a car pull up. It has an Alcorn County tag on it, and I knew immediately who it was. I started to go the other way. I didn't want any part of that. That man had brought his wife, teacher, and his 4 daughters to Starkville, Mississippi. He said, Lieutenant Collins, may I speak with you a moment, please? He said, we'd like you to take us where the wreck happened. I said, Dr. Brown, you don't want to do that. Oh, yes, sir, I do. We prayed about it, and we want to do it. I wish with all my heart he could change his mind. He wouldn't. We all listened. 6 of us and myself. 7 of us in that patrol car. His wife, 3 of his daughters, little girl on the front seat between her dad and myself. We started down Highway 12. He said, Trooper, when we get close to the place where it happened, sort of tell us. We got in that long flat and laid on our bottom. I said, Dr. Brown, it's this next curve right up here. He reached over the seat and he took his wife by her hand and he squeezed her hand as I pulled over on the side of the road. I said, y'all be careful, it's real dangerous here to traffic. Car doors opening quietly as if we were at a funeral. They eased the doors too. I watched them as they held their hand. We started across the highway. We came to an old barbed wire fence. I took my foot, pushed down, and raised up one of the strands. And the young ladies and the mother climbed through. And finally the dad, he reached back and done the same for me. And I climbed through. I went to a cow pasture, folks. The cattle grazing. I walked over. I said, Dr. Brown, the nearest I can remember. Chris was lying right here. He looked up at me, young people, this is what you don't see when the beer commercial comes on. This is what you don't see when they walk the dog across the stage with a little turtleneck sweater saying, Bud says no wind to say when. He looked at me with a very pleasant look. He said, Trooper, will you excuse us a moment? I said, yes, sir. I walked back over to that 4-strand barbed wire fence. All listen, moms and dads, listen. I watched them as they got into a circle. I knew they were praying or talking real quietly. And finally, that man backed up. And he went to every teacher. He went to every one of his children. And he said, honey, promise Mom and Daddy y'all won't ever do this. He said, promise me, darling, you won't ever do this. Don't ever let somebody else lead you, young people, down the road that'll cause you pain and misery. You see, in all the years I've been a trooper, I've never had Spuds McKenzie go with me and knock on the door and tell them they're not ever coming back. You see, on television, it's fun, games, and parties. But in life, it's real. That little old bit of 85-cent can that I held up to you, ladies, is going to cause you, a lot of you, to lose your wedding band. Young people, it's going to cause a lot of your children to go to school without something to wear, something to eat. America's #1 drug problem is that little 85-cent can that the football player says tastes great. Less filling. But you see, some of you can understand more than I can realize. I was telling you, we came up this morning, young people, I received a letter from a little 6th grade boy who Jackie watched the special on Channel 13. I got a letter, I got a lot of letters, but this little letter touched my heart. The 6th grade, fellas. He told me his name and that he was in the 6th grade. grade at a little school out, elementary school from Bowling Green, Kentucky. And he said, "Mr. Trooper, you touched my life." He said, "My daddy's a drunk. My brother's in prison for selling dope. But I ain't gonna go there, because I watched your program on television tonight. I ain't never gonna do drugs." Little folks. You see, we think that they don't understand it. Listen, Mom and Dad, young people, a lot of these little fellas standing back over here sitting know a lot more about heartache than we ever dreamed that they know. You see, you've grown. You can take care of yourself. Who's going to take care of him? He wrote a beautiful little letter, and he signed his name, and then you know what he said after? He put P.S. "Dear Mr. Trooper." He said, "I know you're a busy man, but if you ever come back to Kentucky, would you talk to my daddy? I love my daddy. Thank you very much." You see, young people, what they don't show you on television, that across these rocky hills in the state of Kentucky, alcohol has destroyed many a home. The president gets up and says we're going to declare war on drugs, and they want to talk about getting crack cocaine, and we're going to talk about all the big illicit drug problems, but we fail to realize that our biggest problem in this nation is alcohol. I'll never see you again. If I could tell you the reason why I'll never see you again, you wouldn't understand. But I promise you that just as sure as God made green apples from the corner of this room right here to the corner right over here. Right now, young ladies, you don't understand it, but wait till you have children. Wait till they come home, and you'll understand. So I leave you with this thought, never to see you again. You see, fellas, you'll never miss your water till the well goes dry. You'll never miss sunshine till a cloudy day. You won't ever know what you got till it's gone. Young people, that's the only body you're ever going to have. It's going to be the only eyes you're ever going to have. Don't throw your body away. You're going to need it one day. Thank you for letting me come.
At this time, I'd like to present Jennifer Freddie, President of our Friends Club.
I'd like to present Mr. Collins with a sweatshirt from our Friends Club. As President of our Friends Club, I would like to present him with this t-shirt. It stands for Friends, Reaching for Improvement in Education and Needed Administration Justice. We thank you.
Thank you for letting me say I have a collection. My wife has threatened my life. I have a whole closet with sweatshirts and football jerseys from all across the United States and Canada. I do a lot of work here in Kentucky. And I promise you, if God ever lets me move out of Mississippi, I feel like I'm going to get a chance to come home to the beautiful hills of Kentucky. God bless you all.
Mr. Collins, we appreciate coming to